Sometimes you need that fallout. Sometimes that fallout can save you. Sometimes the fallout will lead you to being the person that God wants you to be. Sometimes you're just being exposed to different behaviors, different mindsets, different mannerisms, different ways of thinking. This can kind of pull you away from the people that you've always been around. I know sometimes it can be extremely hard to let go of certain people when you're in these phases of growth. Ultimately, anybody that is meant for you and anybody that is ordained to be in your life will be in your life regardless. Whatever growing pains you go through, whatever healing phases you go through, whatever detachment phases you go through, anybody that is ordained to be in your life will be in your life. End of story. Welcome to episode 3 of the Pain to Champagne podcast. I'm your host, Ariana. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a space where we're celebrating testimony, growth, healing, healthy relationships, resolving conflict, all of the above. If I'm being very transparent with you guys, this week has been a very trying week for me. I would say that I've been experiencing a lot of spiritual warfare and adversity this week when it comes to relationships, family members, friends, exes, coworkers, all of the above. I think there's been a lot of shifts going on in my life recently, and I kind of just wanted to touch on outgrowing friendships and relationships today. I know this can be a very heavy topic for certain people. I know for me, especially being in my 20s, I am currently going through a phase where I'm trying to navigate who is here for the long haul, who is here short term. And at the end of the day, not everybody can be your everything friend. I think that's really so important to keep in the back of your mind. Not every friend is going to be somebody that you can tell everything to. Not every friend is going to be somebody that you can vent to. Not every friend needs to know your family problems, relationship problems. Some friends, it's okay to keep them surface level. Some friends, it just doesn't have to go that deep with. Some people cannot serve you in certain areas of your life, and that's perfectly fine. For me, I've always looked for podcasts with some sort of guidance and substance when it comes to self-help, building relationships, navigating through life. We're human beings, and I think creating bonds with other humans is something that we're destined to do. We are destined to find companionship in this lifetime, whether that be a friend, whether that be finding companionship in your family members, whether that be, finding a life partner. That's something that we're destined to do. And I think that's something that we really should touch on. Friends and who you have around you, who you have in your vicinity, your close circle, will ultimately be the determining factor of where you will end up in life. The people you surround yourself with ultimately reflect who you are as a person. I think it's super important to keep people around you that have the same values, that have the same morals and integrity. And sometimes you'll find yourself veering off of paths and, not being able to connect with certain people anymore. That's really what I want to talk about on today's episode. I want to talk about how it feels internally and what it looks like externally outgrowing friendships or relationships. For starters, it's always good to sit back and analyze your friendship. It's always good to step out of the friendship for a moment in your personal time and just kind of take a look at what your friendship consists of. Is this somebody that you trust? Is this somebody that makes you feel good? Is this somebody that you can bring around your family? Is this somebody that honors you? Is this somebody that respects you? Can this be somebody that you can have open communication with? Like I said, not everyone can be your everything friend, but at the bare minimum, you have to trust this person. You have to be able to communicate with this person. This person has to have respect for you. And this person has to make you feel good. I think once we start not feeling good around certain friends is when you will definitely know when this is somebody that you may be outgrowing. It's all about the energy and how this person makes you feel. And when you step outside of the friendship for a second and analyze how the person makes you feel, Do you find yourself that often, more times than not, you're not in the best of headspaces when you converse with this person, or you're not in the best of headspaces when you're interacting with this person or telling them about your day? If you find yourself 9 times out of 10 not feeling good around this person or not excited to be around this person, this may be somebody that you may not be clicking with and that you may be outgrowing. We all have separate lives. We all have different stories. We all are exposed to different people. And sometimes being exposed to such different environments causes you to grow in a certain way where your friends are not headed towards. Sometimes you're just being exposed to different behaviors, different mindsets, different mannerisms, different ways of thinking. And this can kind of pull you away from the people that you've always been around. I think for one, as an individual, it's super important to recognize and maintain your own personal growth ahead of anybody else's. I think what it comes down to is nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to help you. You have to prioritize your own personal growth. You have to prioritize your mindset. You have to prioritize the things that you want to be exposed to and what environment you want to be in. I know sometimes it can be extremely hard to let go of certain people when you're in these phases of growth. But ultimately, anybody that is meant for you and anybody that is ordained to be in your life will be in your life regardless of whatever growing pains you go through, whatever healing phases you go through, whatever detachment phases you go through. Anybody that is ordained to be in your life will be in your life. End of story. I know for me, I've had certain situations where I've caught myself not being able to relate to certain people anymore. I've caught myself not feeling good constantly around certain people. And, friendships have their ups and downs. But like I said, if more times than not, you're not having a good feeling around this person, or this person is not making you feel good, this may be somebody that you're outgrowing or you're not on the same page with. I think something that is a key indicator of my friendships is me just being able to solely be myself around the people that are in my close circle. I want to be able to be around my people and not feel judged and not feel like I'm being looked at in some sort of, shady light. I want to feel like I'm embraced by the people around me, flaws and all. A lot of times I've caught myself, feeling judged by certain people that I've had in my circle, just feeling like I've been talked down on. I feel like I've been around people that haven't always encouraged me, that haven't always given me that boost of confidence, or that encouragement that sometimes you need from a friend. Sometimes you need that affirmation. Sometimes you need that boost of confidence, like, hey, I believe in you. I've caught myself many of times, in those situations where I'm like, hey, this person 9 times out of 10 does not make me feel good. So this may be somebody that, I'm phasing out of. We may be phasing out of our friendship. This may be somebody that I'm outgrowing. Stepping outside of the friendship and just analyzing it from a bird's eye view and just really seeing the friendship for what it is the best way to spot the signs of a friendship that's being outgrown. Being that a friend, a true friend, is somebody that you value and respect, I think it's super important to have that open and honest communication when you start to recognize or feel these shifts. The only way for you to potentially fix the problem, if this is a problem that can be fixed, is if you lead with respect and you have that open, honest dialogue with each other. If this is not a situation where you guys are outgrowing each other, and if this is a situation where you're just going through a rough patch in your friendship, this authentic communication is going to allow you to just create a stronger bond with the person that you're involved with. It's going to allow you to feel open with each other. It's going to allow you to just be transparent, and truly see if this person values you or not. If you are coming to somebody from a place of love and care and concern, and you're worried about potentially losing the friendship, or if you feel like things are off, if this person loves you and if this person respects you and cares for you the way you do them, they're going to listen. They're going to have open ears. They're going to, communicate thoroughly. They're going to be engaged. They're going to be attentive to the conversation because, this is sacred ground here. This is a friendship. Friendships are super, super important. And if this is not a problem that can be solved, you know that at least on your end, you took the high road and you communicated diligently and honestly, and you were super transparent about the way you felt. And that is respectable at the end of the day. Ultimately, this open communication just creates a space for you to potentially grow closer to the person that you're, worried about losing. Part of having this open dialogue with your friend is setting boundaries and making it clear what you need. In order for our friendship to thrive, I need this. In order for me to feel safe with you, I need this. This is so important when it comes down to honoring yourself and the way that you feel. Hey, I don't like when you do this. I'd rather this. Or hey, when we had certain conversations about, things I'm passionate about, I don't feel like you're engaged. Or when I tell you about things that I'm going through or stuff that I've done, I feel like I'm being judged. This is what I need instead. Sometimes people need to be directed. So you establishing your boundaries and letting them know, like, here, this is where I'm drawing the line, isn't going to do anything but show whether or not this person genuinely has respect for you. People that love you respect your boundaries. People that don't love you will never respect your boundaries and they will question your boundaries. They will test your boundaries. And it's so important to recognize and pay attention to the two. Being super specific about instances where you felt away in a calm and respectful manner is the best way to communicate, and being very firm and clear, like, hey, this is something that I do not want to happen again. I felt like after this specific instance, there was a disconnect and things haven't been the same since. The more specific you are, the more potential you have to fixing this bond. Now, sometimes when you're outgrowing a friend, it is completely okay for you to move on and grow and become a different person, become the best version of yourself, and them do the same. Sometimes friendships are not salvageable. Sometimes people are only meant to be in your life for a season. Sometimes things just don't work out. There are instances where you deserve better. And like I said earlier, anything that is ordained is going to be for you. If it ever does come down to you trying to mend a friendship that is just unsalvageable, I encourage you and your friend to go ahead and explore other avenues in life. There's billions and trillions of people in this world. There's so many people that you're going to meet, that you're going to connect with, that you're going to be with. There's so much growing that you have left to do. There's so much growing that your friend has left to do. And, if this is somebody that is meant to be your friend or meant to be in your life, this is somebody that will come back to you when the time is right and when you're both ready. Me specifically, I've had instances where I've gone a year or two without speaking to one of my childhood best friends. Eventually, we found our way back to each other. It was never any malicious intent. We never argued. We never had a disagreement. There was no fallout. We kind of just outgrew each other. Eventually, years later, we ran into each other and it was as if, nothing had happened. We had a discussion about the fact that we hadn't spoken for a few years, and that is literally my sister to this day. To this day, that is my sister, and that is one of my realest friends. Sometimes people go through seasons. Sometimes you outgrow each other for a chapter or two in life, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. What you have to remember in the back of your mind is you only have yourself at the end of the day. Wherever you go is exactly where you are. You have to worry about your self growth. You have to worry about your independence. You have to pay attention to your testimony. You have to make sure that things are aligning for you the way they're supposed to. I've also had situations where I've ended friendships with people on a graceful note. I've just come to the realization, and maybe they've come to the realization that, we're just not for each other. Or yes, we were for each other at a certain time, but it could never be that again. Sometimes you're meant to just experience certain people and move on. When you're surrounded by people that, genuinely love you and genuinely care about you, that make you feel good, that have respect for you, that care about your feelings, it is a different type of feeling. It's so much easier to thrive in an environment where you're loved and where you're chosen over the opposite. Nobody ever wants to be in a space where they have to question the people around them. You want to go where you're loved and stay where it's consistent. With that being said, there's so many psychological and emotional benefits to moving on and, letting go with grace. It's so important to just remember at the end of the day, we're human beings. When you're around people that you have genuine connection with, you just thrive differently. You smile differently, you feel differently, you feel better about yourself, you're happy. And ultimately, this is the goal. The goal is to be around people that you share a genuine connection with. And with that being said, it is okay to let certain people go. I know it's extremely hurtful at times, but it is okay. On top of that, if you end things on a positive note and you end things respectfully and gracefully, you'll have nothing to look back on and be like, damn, I wish I would have done that differently. Or damn, I wish we could have just, set our pieces and parted ways. Or damn, it didn't have to end that way. It's best to always end relationships, friendships with respect and grace. You have to know that we're all human and we all make mistakes. Have the mercy to meet people where they're at and just accept them for who they are and move on. Letting go of friendships can be extremely hurtful. Sometimes losing a friend is worse than losing a relationship. Sometimes you're so close and you've bonded so much with this person that you can't picture having a day-to-day basis where you're not speaking to this person, or you can't picture, going through a certain event and not like running to go tell them. As humans, it's natural that we grieve. It's natural that we have emotions. It's important that we pay attention to our responses to these emotions. Just because, you're sad and you're upset that your friendship with this person is over, you still have to maintain your self respect. You still have to maintain your boundaries. And you still have to know in the back of your mind that anything is for you is going to be for you, and that, sometimes people need to take time apart to come back together and be stronger than ever. Some strategies that I've learned when it comes to, grieving a friendship or a loss is just surrounding myself with people that make me feel good, listening to podcasts, watching videos, making myself feel good, making myself knowledgeable to, the human experience, making myself knowledgeable to different people's emotions and perspectives, opening your mind to just receive things in a different light, and just keeping in the back of your mind that, things could change in a drop of a dime. This is not set in stone. Nothing is set in stone. Anything can come and go at any time, especially at God's will. For me, I do a lot of sermon watching. I talk to my friends, I talk to my mother, I seek advice, I seek guidance. And for me, these are things that have helped me cope with the loss of friendships, loss of relationships, loss of a bond, loss of a routine, because that's really what this is. You are so used to talking to this person, you're so used to being around them and having them there for you. And this is now like a culture shock. You're now having to readjust your whole mindset and the way you think, who you talk to, and your day to day cadences, because you and this person, are on the outs and are no longer friends. Sometimes you can come out of these friendships and, truly feel your best self. Sometimes you get out of friendships and you realize, like, wow, this person was really holding me back. Or, wow, this person really did not make me feel good about myself. And those are the moments of self discovery. And those are the moments when you realize, like, hey, it is okay to just, grieve these friendships and grieve these processes and think about the good times, but also just, forgive, but always remember the bad. And remember that, anybody that loved you would value you. It's okay to grieve, but don't forget that this could be a huge transitional point for you in your life. Part of getting over this grieving process is just taking a step back at, some of your values and some of the things that you care about, some of the morals that you have. Just working on that, really doing self work. Maybe it wasn't all them. Maybe you did play a part into why the friendship is no longer there. So I think self discovery is so important when it comes to fallouts because you truly never know where you contributed to the loss of the friendship. I encourage everybody listening that, has gone through this, is going through this, to just reflect on your personal growth and your values. Pay attention to the choices that you've made, the things that you've said. Recognize that you do have a purpose. Reconnect with that purpose. Rediscover some of your hobbies, some of your passions. This can also be a great way of grieving, finding things that you're passionate about, finding things that you love about yourself. I know for me personally, I've gone through situations where I have outgrown a friend because of the fact of me not feeling supported, me feeling, judged by this person. And I've been extremely happy afterwards. I've kind of discovered myself. I figured out what I want in a friend and what I don't want in a friend. I've gained the knowledge of how to notice like red flags and how to notice when, somebody just doesn't value you in the same way that you value them. I've noticed ways of subtle disrespect. Ultimately, speaking from my own testimony, me falling out with certain people, in my opinion, has helped me for the better than for the worst in every situation. I think I've always learned something from the friendships that I no longer have. I think I figured out what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not. I figured out what makes me feel good and what makes me feel bad. And ultimately, I figured out what I need in order for a friendship to thrive. Everyone's criteria is different, and it's super important for you to go through these phases where you outgrow people so that way you know what you need in order to have a solid friendship. I really just want everybody listening to the pod to know that you're going to meet people in this life that aren't going to last as long as you think they are. You're going to meet people in this life that, are the most amazing friends that you've ever had. You'll meet people that are the crappiest friends that you've ever had. Ultimately, this is all going to build your character. It's going to build your character. It's going to show you what you need. It'll show you self-respect, figure out what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not. And ultimately, you want to be around people that, one, are meant for you, and two, that feed whatever goals you have in life. Whatever person you want to be, you want those type of people around you. If you're a creative, you want to be around creative mindsets. You want to be around people that are encouraging. Regardless of what you're doing, you want to be around people that are encouraging. You want to be around people that respect you, that love you, that you share, that genuine intimacy with, and that you feel like you can just, let your guard down around. It's completely okay for you to not fit everybody's checklist. You're not going to be everybody's everything friend. You're not going to be everybody's favorite friend. The people that feed your mind and the people that, feed the best parts of you are the people that are worth keeping. Anybody that you can sit in silence with and not feel awkward is your true friend. That's the only way I can say it. Anybody that you can just sit and be yourself around, or anybody that you can just sit and, not say a word and be completely at peace and comfortable around, those are the people for you. And it's important that you go out and you find these people. It's a-okay for you to fall off with people. It's a-okay for you to outgrow people. You are ultimately going to be the best person that you can be at the end of everything. I encourage all my beautiful listeners to approach these changes with understanding and empathy, and just know that we're all going through something. Everybody's story is different. Everybody was raised differently. Not everybody has the same morals, respect, communication skills that you have. I really just want you guys to remember that anybody that is for you will always be for you. You may take breaks. You may leave each other and come back. You may find yourself not being friends with somebody ever again. You may find yourself absolutely adoring some of your friends. Anybody that is meant to be in your life is going to be in your life. May not be right when you want it, may not be consistently, but Sometimes you need that fallout. Sometimes that fallout can save you. Sometimes the fallout will lead you to being the person that God wants you to be. I hope I'm able to start some healthy conversations in regards to friendships. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 3 of the Pain to Champagne podcast. You can find us on all social medias and all streaming platforms at Pain to Champagne Pod. I encourage you guys to leave me some feedback. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Leave me a rating on one of our streaming platforms. Ratings, comments. I want to know what you guys want to hear. We have a very special guest joining us on our next episode. Be sure to be on the lookout for that. Pain to Champagne Pod, episode 3. I can't believe we're on episode 3. Episode 3, we are out.